Welcome to Let Let There Be Light tutorial program. This is the second video that we're gonna do on methods and repeating things, which is loops. Um, Today we're gonna focus on project 7, on the approach that I would have taken or how to better understand the project. So let me share my screen. Uh, when I share my screen, this is the project that comes up. So the project belongs to the UFS Department of Computer Science and Informatics, being the author, Miss Putty. Yes. So it was dated this. This was the command. It start as this. So what I would advise every time that you are using doing a project, you should always open it in Adobe or Microsoft Edge because it allows you to highlight. You see, so um, we are doing an application. It's going to be called an ordering system. Develop an ordering system for Acacia at the small cafe. Yeah. So we're developing this. Display the menu with the meal items in figures. So there are figures that are going to follow. Each meal should have an order number associated with it. Allow the user to select the order, a number, and the quantity of meals. So these are the user inputs. Quantity of meals. So each meal has an order number, okay, which is where the user is going to select. The program should display the number of meals ordered, the price of a meal as on menu, and the total price. And then they say as well as a thank you message when an order has been placed, has taken place. Okay. Once an order is completed, the user is asked if another customer order should be generated. Oh, okay. If yes, character yes, clear the console and allow the user to take another order. If the user selects no, allow the user to exit the program gracefully. The program must make provisions for lowercase input. So we are only expecting higher case inputs. So let's look at the figures before we look at this. This is the menu system. Choose an option for from the list below, chicken, vols, all of this is in the menu. So that's where the user will place the order, and the order is an int because it's only 1, 2. You can say 1.5. So it's an int, not a double variable. And then I think the quantity is also an int. So it goes, I think this is what is projected outwards to the user and the thank you. And then after the thank you, a next customer should be appeared. So we are going to be told how to embark on this. So, and if the user selected yes, and then another order is going to be prompt, which is clearing everything in the console and then starting all over again. So what happens if the user selects something that's not here? Please select the order number, which is 0, something that's not here. Invalid entry, please select the option from the list. Press any key to try again. This is important. Press any key to try again. And then the output display an error user what. Okay, you get that. So so if the user press any key, he or she will be prompted back here. So That's some sort of a loop. Use an error detected user can press any key and try again. The prompt will start from the beginning. So this is press any key to exit. So that's the thing. So going to the instructions now. Going to the instructions. The instructions tells us, we're just going to first read all the instructions. Create a method. They tell us to create a method. This is the method name that will return. So the return type, once it has a return type, it means that it no longer falls in the domain of a void. So which is a method that returns nothing. So this method is a decimal method and it returns total price. So they tell us it accepts. When they say it accepts, they're telling us, it is the parameters are going to be this. So what is the parameter? The quantity of the meals item ordered and the cost per meal as parameters. So it takes those two parameters. Let me try to change the color. So what color can I do? Okay, I can do it with this one. Items ordered and cost per meal and the cost per meal as parameter. So that's another parameter there. The method should calculate and return the total price. So hence this method is called the total price. The method should calculate and return the total price as in figure 3. If we can run back to figure 3 is this one. If you have select order 3, this is order 3, which is the beef burger, which is 65 rand, 2 quantities. So it's going to be 2 times this, which is equals to 130. So that the total quality calculates that. Sorry for the beep, I'm gonna fix that just now. So they say create the method named generator. So this is the second method that will not return any value. So they are telling us that it will not return, which is it's a void method. Anything, and it accepts, which is we have a parameter. It takes a decimal parameter, okay, which is it's money in our case. The method should prompt the user for the quantity of the menu items to order. So the quantity will be asked in this method. Remember, the quantity is being entered there, quantity of the items. Man. Then they say calculate the total price and display the output as in figure 3. So you must call the method total price within the generator method to calculate the total price of the menu. Okay. So we go again, create a method that is called is another. It means it's a bool. Yeah, it returns a bool. It returns a bool, which is a bool method. This method should prompt the user to the user for another customer to order and return a bool result of the user response. Okay. So it will be that yes or no is going to be asked on this. So use an appropriate loop to display the menu and the rest of the program. The loop body should be executed at least once. Yes, this at least once before the loop condition is checked. There is only one post-stated loop, which is it's called a do while. The loop should be controlled by the stated of one of the customer's method. Okay, we'll do that. Use a switch statement. So we are not using if statement, we are using if statement. So for each case, you must hard code the price that corresponds with the meal item. Okay, no problem. Do not create a new variable in each case. Rather, you must create one variable to which you will assign a value in each case. Okay. remember to take a variable scope into consideration. Remember to take variable scope into consideration. Ensure that you use the correct data type for money, which is it's a decimal. For each case, you must also call the generator, the generate order method for each case. The default case should handle the user error. Okay, they're gonna handle their case. But there's this line of code. For each case, you may hard code the price of the corresponding item in the variable. Do not treat a new variable for each case. Rather, you must create one variable to which you assign a value in each case. Yeah? So we are creating a variable. So the variable that it will be the variable that selects the order number that will be used in each case. You see, so that's what we are being told by this line of code. So we'll jump to Visual Studio, first doing the first method, second, third, and then applying this so that we can have a friendly user name, and that's like that. So we'll jump to Visual Studio right now to actually see what can we do about this. Coming to our main method, I have created a Visual Studio. I didn't name it correct, so do take corrections from that. But what I already done is I created the menu, which is when we run this, the menu will pop up like exactly as how it was written there. So I didn't want to have too many things in my console, so I just went and did this for you. If this is the code, to I padded right with a space, this, and then the menu came as it is. So I did the string to not have too many console write lines. I just came and say console write line the S menu of the string that I created. So hence the menu is showing like that. So now what are we going to do? We are going to go back and read what was the first instruction of what we need to do and try to follow it thoroughly. It says create a method. That method is named total price, and it returns a decimal. It's a decimal method. It accepts the quantity of meals, né? Of meals items ordered, and the cost or per meal as a parameter. Cost is money. Money is a decimal. So it accepts an int and a decimal. So let's go create a typical method of total price and back into Visual Studio. So what do you need to do? It needs to be static because we're using console. Static, and it needs to be private, only accessible in this namespace or in this class. So moving on, what is the return type? It's a decimal. The method name is called total price, like this. So I'm gonna go back and see if that total price is written correct. So we have the total price like that, and it needs to return something. For now, let's just return a 0 so that we can remove the error. So they said it takes two parameters, int items, which is the items that are ordered, and then it's a decimal. Decimal let's call it decimal, let's call it decimal one, decimal cost. So it's always prefixed with an M cost. So we're just going to write it like that. So let's just make sure that we got everything. Create a method called total price. The P is a capital letter. I'll fix that. Accepts the quantity number of meals items. I can write I meals items so that when you are calling the method, it can be easier to know what are you dealing with. So the method should calculate and return the total price. So it's the quantity times the cost per meal. So that's easy enough. So we come back to our method. Let me fix this. And then I can say I meals items. I can write that. I meals items and cost. And then that's per meal. This added in syntax is not required. You can name anything in your parameters, but as long as you are sticking with the prefix. So moving on. So what happens in the method? What happens in the method? It's the IMELs that we did, IMELs items, just multiply by the M cost. And remember, an int can multiply a decimal, but a decimal is not multiplied by a double. Some cast, you need to do some cast in order to figure out what are you doing there. So this is our total price method. So we cover the up and then go to the next method that they are going to tell us what to do. So the next method that they are telling us to do is called the generate order. That will not return anything and accepts a decimal parameter. That decimal parameter, we already knew that it is the price, it's the cost price of the meal. So what can we do? What can we do? We can do this. Where's it? Okay. I'll come back to Visual Studio, static, private. But in this case, it's a void. And then it's called generate order. So since it's a void, no errors, but they tell us, or it tells us, it takes a decimal parameter. That decimal parameter is called it's the cost price. So we can say decimal M cost price, like how we did here. So I can just come copy this here and paste this here. So, and then we got that. So what does the generate order do? So we go here and find out what does the generate order do. So the method should prompt the user to enter, or the user to enter the quantity of the menu items to order. It must calculate the total price, which means it's just calling the method total price and display the output. You see. So what must happen? We must get the I quantity, the quantity or the items. So it depends on what syntax you're going to use. So CW tab, and then come and first see how the quantity is named. It's just written quantity. So we can come back to our Visual Studio, and what are we going to do? We're just gonna say string that says quantity. That's it. And then this thing, it's going to read something. So going to read something, quantity, and then we need to store that value quantity. We say I said this value is equals to int cost. per meal, or we can just rename this as I quantity. It's up to us on what to do. But since I have started with that int meals items is equal to that I'll store it as such. Or let me just store it as quantity so that you know quantity. So I quantity. So I quantity is equals to what? Int dot pass. So it's int dot pass, and then it's going to read this. It's going to read this. So we're going to read this. So how do we read this? We'll read that by console dot write dot read line. So and then since no error checking is plausible, so we're just gonna leave it as this. But the easier way to do defensive programming, we say can just do a try catch, and then we can try this, and then we copy paste, and then remove this. Oh, okay, we need a catch. A catch. If we have a catch, we're just gonna have the thing there. Okay, exception, execute what? I said exceptions. So we can call it an error. So we can tell the user the error. And remind you, this is not required. We are just using it because well, we can use it actually. We just helping the user to actually identify if they made an error. So you can say error message. We're just reading the I quantity here. So, and then moving on now onwards. So if the I quantity is actually read, what do we do next? So we come back to our question, and then it tells us that where's this? Let's say create a method name generator that will return anything, and it accepts a decimal parameter. The method should prompt the user to enter the quantity. We already did that. And then calculate the total price and display it. So we calculate and display. We calculate and display. So how do we display? We use that display that's named there, saying numbers of meal it's equals to this, price per meal is equals to this, total price is equals to that. So how do we do that? We come back to Visual Studio and simply write simple lines of code. So a number of meals, if I'm not correct, it says number of meals. So CW tap number, it needs to be a string, number of meals with one letter, number of meals with this, and then you come and add the number of meals, which is in our case, it's the I quantity. So then the next one was saying cost per meal. So cost per meal. Cost per meal. And then the cost per meal, it's what we entered as a parameter. So what we entered as a parameter is what? Is the M cost per meal. And then we come and write our last console.write line. So we can use this, we can say core total price. It's named total price. Total price. And this is the total price. We call the total The total price method, it takes two parameters, which is the I quantity. It takes another parameter called M cost per mil. We have M cost per mil, and then we close this off. And then what do we need to do? We need to convert all of this thing to a string, so that we can actually format it in a way that we want our results to come and show on by. So let me just copy this first and then come and paste it here again. So this is money, cost per mil. Also, let me see if we still price per mil, total price. So it's price per mil, not cost per mil. So let's fix that. It's price per mil. And then we are done with the generator method. We are done with the generator method. We are done with the total price method. So let me open this so that I can comment effectively. This, tab, B, and then I can stop this. I can do this. So there's another method that's required there. So what is that method? What is that method? The method that's required, it says create a method called is another that returns a bool. This method should prompt the user for another customer order and return the bool result of the user's response. See? So we can go to Visual Studio, static, private. So now it's a bool and it's called is another what? It's another one. It's another one. It's another one. We don't take anything. We return a true or false. We return a true or false. So let's write true for now and then coming inside. So coming inside, we need to actually we need to prompt the user to get something. So we have a console dot write. Not a right line. Why is it not a right line? It's not a right line because here on the on the on the promptimization, it's called next customer, and the input is entered here. You see, so next customer, yes, no, we have that, and then let's write it. Next customer. And then we have this, yes, yes, or no, we have that. So if the user entered yes, it's going to be recorded. So how are we storing this? How are we storing this? So we can store this as, let's see first if they did tell us how we should store this. So let's say is another that returns a bool. This method should prompt the user to enter another customer order and return a bool result of the user's response. So it's up to us. Use an appropriate loop to display the menu. So it's up to us. It's up to us on how we record this. So we can use a string, we can use an int, we can use whatever that's gonna take y or n. You see. So they say the user select y console is cleared to and is displayed. Okay. That's no problem. We're going to do that. So let's record this, and you see from here there is a next line. Oh, we forgot this part. This thank you note. We should have inputted that thank you note in outside the generate method. So we are still going to do that one. But let's first read this thing. So how can we read this thing? I can read this thing as a char character, and then saying C option. C option is equals to. So I'm gonna say read key console dot read key dot, oh, this is a method, dot kita, and then that's that. We have recorded the user. So now they said if this thing is equal to, so let's first convert this as option into an uppercase. So as option is equals to char, and then char has methods that inside. So we can say char to upper and then put this thing. So we are making it a capital letter. We are making it a capital letter by doing that. So moving forward, so now we need to test if what? If C option is equals to Y, which is equals to the character Y, what do we return? We return a true. Else if the user entered the C option that's equals to this thing, to N, we return false. We return false. Okay, that's that. And then else, now if the user entered something that's wrong, we are going to recall this method. So what are we going to return? We're gonna return is another method with no parameters. We are going to prompt the user to enter something until they enter a no or yes. Then this part wasn't stated. This part is for good programming. And then we are done with is another. I said we left something on is generate, and that's something that we left on is generate. It was the CW, the tab, and that thank you note that's down there. So we can write it like that. We can say next line, and right there, all this thing, and say thank you. And go. Hey, I think I over, but I'm sure you get the gist. So it's this, and then we have here another next line, just another next line. So if we have this, it needs to show the thank you and then ask another customer. So we are done with all those things. We are done with all those things. We need to come back to the main. So they say after each occurrence, the menu should be recorded. Yeah, you see? So how can we record the menu again? So, and it should be cleared first. So how can I do that? So they also told us OT we need to use a loop. So our preference loop is a do while. So in a do while, I take this menu thing because it should be the first one. But now we're gonna start with console dot clear so that we clear anything that starts. So we can comment there clearing the console after each run. And then going there, we have the menu that's going to appear. So what do we have after the menu has appeared? We come here. After the menu has appeared, we have this guy saying, please select an order number. So we need something that's going to select an order number. So let me come here, and in the menu, let me add some next lines so that we are not we are inside the horoscope. Our thing can be clear. So we need a console.write. Console.write. The console.write would get that. So we get that. Please select an order number. It's called please select an order number. Order number. So the user will select an order number. That order number needs to be read. So this thing will give us an int. So error checking is not that much required. But if you were doing another error checking, you were just going to do what a try pass. You see, do a try pass. But now error checking is not is not a really an issue. So we're gonna say int I, let me call it order, is equals to int dot pass, and then we're gonna read the string console dot readline. We have passed that int here. So we are done with that first part. So let's come to our thing here. We were told to use a switch statement structure cycle through the menu options. You see? So we have an I option. For each case, you may hard code the price of the corresponding meal item in a variable. So we need to state this variable, and then in each and every case, we need to say this variable is equals to this. This variable is equals to this. This variable is equals to this. I hope you understand, but still going to show. So do not create a new variable for each case. Rather than you must create one variable to which you assign the value in each case statement. So that's easy. We are still outside. We are creating a variable that's going to, so decimal, I can say it m cost, which is, it's the order cost, or let me call it the order cost. See, it's going to, just because it's not assigned to anything and it's not it's never used. You see. So let's go to our switch statement. So switch statement, switch statement, the tab. This is the order. So we just do our int here. So what do we have? We have the first case. The first case is 1. And then we are going to say m cost is equals to something. And then we call the generate order method, which takes what? The m cost. Like that, you see. So And then after that, we close this and say break. And then close that. And then our case becomes coefficient. So from the first order, how much is it? It's 45 rand. So it's equals to 45 rand. We're gonna come here and say it's equals to 45.00. And please mind his. I was expecting that. Please mind your computers, because some can say this thing. Oh, okay. Is increment, well, what. Oh, it's a comma. It takes it as a comma. Just write 45 and leave it at that. Just write 45 and leave it at that. So we have these two methods. Let me write it in a way that is readable. Case one, this is the order, and we are calling this. So what are we going to do? We're just going to change this thing. We're going to say copy V. Copy V. See? Like this. So until we get all those cases. So we have case 2, we have case 3, we have case 4, and I think we also have case 5. And they have different what? Different prices. So the second one had what price? 35 rand. 35, not 15, 35. And then 65. And then what? And then what? And then 30, 35. 30, 35. Oh, okay. We still have another order that we need to write. So which is 6, which is 6 is equal to what? 6 is equal to 45. Also, we are good. Yeah, we are good. So the default parameter, if the user, they told us if, the default parameter, if the user decided to insert something that's not into this invalid entry, please select an option from the list. Press any key to try again. So what we're going to do, we're gonna say our first console write line, tab, and then we're gonna say this. Oh, it's still running. Wow. It shouldn't been still running. Okay, console.writeline. So what's happening is that we need the thing, it's a invalid entry. Please select an option from the list. See, that's the default. If the user entered something, so we're going to write it invalid entry, and say please select something in the list, or in the list, and then we come and say press any key to try again. So we have that. So after this, we need to read this. We need this thing to actually stop. So we make that thing stop by console.ready like this. And then what's going to happen? The main needs to be called again so that it can be executed. So let me say main. We are calling the main again to be executed after everything that's going to happen. So let's see if we have everything in place. So what happens if the user presses no, they don't want to They don't want. So this thing shows it's called press any key to exit. It's called press any key to exit. So I didn't do a case for this thing. So I should do it. I should do it. I'm just testing this thing. Yeah. I'm just testing this thing. I'm just testing this thing if it will run. And seems like I'm gonna run into an error, which is I have to change my type into a char. Evaluating the console expression. So I didn't do a case. And I also said here it's always true, and which is it's not the case that we want. That we want is another here. Is another. We want is another. So is another will decide if this loop is rerun or not. So let me say exit. Exit, we say next line, press in press any key to exit. If this thing is not true, it will just come in. So there is no need to do for the other things. So it's basically telling us this thing. We shouldn't read it as a end order. So we need to change this thing. We already did it before, so we can say cha the option is equals to. So chas the option is equals to console back console dot key dot key cha keychar. So that keychar is going to it's gonna take a what you call an C option. We need C option there. A number is always a number, but now we need to represent it as a character. Two will always be two. We don't have a lowercase of two. Lowercase of 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have the default after that. So we have the default of that. So let's try again. We try again. I hope every code is clear. Okay. Let me wait for this. The menu is prompted. This is happening. Let me see. I want the chicken biryani. One quantity, or is I didn't say next line after that, so that's fine also. The quantity of 5, let me say, so 5 taking 1, and that's the total price. Next customer, yes, no. Let me first say yes. The menu is clear, is cleared. You see that? So that's what we want. That's what we definitely want when we are doing this. So we need to we can have here a simple what? A simple console write console write line, or we can go to the generator and said, before we read anything, we're just gonna have a next line. You see the importance of next lines. So we can have a next line here, and then if we run this again to actually see what's happening. So let's take number one, let's say 4, number of meals, and that number of meals needs to have a space. And if you can see that the decimals are represented, everything is aligned as we need it. So if we say no, it has that press any key to exit. So that's very good. That's very good from our program. It means that it runs everything. And then with the generate, we also need another next line when it comes in. So slash next line so that everything will appear properly. So this coming here. Okay, let me just run. This is the whole code. Imagine, imagine. Okay. Number one, let's say 5 or 45 rand. Instead, I type Y, it reads, and then it says, let me say 2, and then let me say I want 5 also, to 5 times that, and then say yes, so that we can see everything. If we say 3 and said we want 5 also, that's equals to that. Yes, so just because everything is written the way it's supposed to be written for to actually read this. But now, if you look at our menu there, we have these values that are wrong. So we just need to fix those values in our in our underlining code. So we have here 4, we have here 5, we have here 6. So now I think when we run, everything is going to be fine. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see. 6, 5, you see what you need to select, and you can select anything. And the importance about you just write one thing, just write a 6. You don't need to say enter. You see, quantity 5, and then that's where you need to say enter, and then it generates. It says thank you, and let's see, everything is the same. All dots, written menu up there, and then you are done with the solution. So if how can I put this? If you need help, you can subscribe to our program. It's only 300 per month. I give you not uh I give you not less than an hour or two. Even if not less than an hour, I try to break it down everything to you so it can be beneficial. So you can just reach our admin, and then you'll be added to one of our students, and they can help you. But for now, it's bye from me, and I hope that um everything will be fine. Everything is clear. But if you do have any questions, just comment below, and then I will answer them. I will answer them. For now, thank you, and goodbye.